Welcome back, everybody, to the United Kingdom Speedrunner Gathering Autumn 2021. We are here with our next run, and I hope everybody is ready for some style, control, damage, and aggression, because we have SonicRPika with Robot Wars Extreme Destruction. So please welcome the Master of Mayhem, SonicRPika.
You make it sound like I'm Craig Charles there. Right, before I get into anything, I'm showing that I'm resetting the save file. That is required for this category. It's also required for the 100% category because it shows that we're starting from a fresh save file, even though it doesn't get timed with it. Time will start as soon as I hit A to go into the single player game modes. Other than that, you ready for some action? For some carnage? Then I guess let the wars begin, and I'll count us down from 5. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, begin. Or activate, I should say. So we're going to be doing 2 game modes. The Bash and Dash game mode and the Mayhem game mode. We'll alternate between the two because unlocking stages is very linear, very, I guess, hard coded is the best way to describe it. Now there are 3 ways we can win. We can either 3 ways to knock out an opponent's robot: get them down the pit, get them to lose all of their durability, or to get them counted out, which for some robots is possible, for some robots it's not possible at all. They'll just self-right in time, or they run both ways up. So the first stage is obviously the studio, mocks the TV studio from the original games. You've got your pit, you've got the disc, which in this game deals damage. You've got the drop zone and the floor flipper, both of which do pretty much nothing. The fastest way to eliminate robots is, of course, getting them in the pit. In the Bash and Dash game mode, which is the game mode we're in quite at the moment, we can win by waiting 3 minutes and just surviving. That's slow. So we'd rather not do that. And that's the first stage. Now we're going to go into the Mayhem mode. We're going to go into the second stage, Melting Pot. Same robot, same everything. In Bash and Dash, you're the king, or if you lose, then you're out. But if you survive or destroy all the other robots, you win. In Mayhem mode, it's a free-for-all. So you don't necessarily win by outlasting 3 minutes, but you can win by it. All robots are just fighting each other. As you can see, the gimmick of this stage, each stage has its own particular gimmick. In this case, it's that lava pit that we were flung into accidentally. Yeah, I guess I should talk about the robot choice as well. The game, you start with 5 robots. You start with Dominator 2, Bigger Brother, Firestorm 3, 101, and Stinger. For most of this run, I'm using Firestorm 3. That's because Firestorm 3 is really good at more crowd control based fights. I can just charge into robots, flip them into the pit, or just deal damage because of them crashing to the ground. That's not to say we're only using Firestorm. We will be using Dominator 2 at a later point, because there are just some stages that are safer with Dominator 2. And if it's safer, it's actually arguably faster. Yeah, that's the second fight. stage 3, we're going into Deep Freeze. The gimmick of this stage being the floor is ice. It's slippery. And I think that's about everything I would want to talk about for now. So, anything you guys want to say?
Yeah, always happy to jump in and remind people exactly why we are here. We don't pay donations in at the moment, but all the donations are going towards raising money to support Crisis, a charity supporting people out of homelessness for good. They achieve this through education, training, and support with housing, employment, and health. 90% of your donations will go towards supporting Crisis, and 10% goes towards helping UKSG support future events. Both very good causes, and all your donations are massively appreciated. Here's more about what Crisis do in their own words. We're encouraging our supporters to continue fundraising for us in a way that adheres to government guidelines to prevent the spread of the virus, i.e. virtual gaming events just like this one, virtual pub quizzes, a living room Olympics, and other virtual exercise challenges and virtual all-nighters. The situation is changing fast, and we are working as hard as we can to adapt to changing needs and new guidelines, and we'll continue to do this so we can carry on supporting people for as long as this lasts. And to do that, every bit of your donation, the part that goes towards Crisis, will go towards that.
So, when I said in this game that stages are hard, it's hard coded what you unlock when you do each stage. We have to do for Studio and Melting Pot. We have to do only bronze. For Deep Freeze, we have to do bronze and silver, and that's to unlock the next stage. We also got some bad RNG because we're facing off against Hypnodisc, and if you remember Hypnodisc from the TV show, it's a bit worse than that. Lots of damage. That flywheel is practically always spinning. So without some luck or some time loss, we're probably not coming out of this fight alive. Yeah, the different robots can be unlocked by... The different robots you fight depends on the difficulty. If it's bronze difficulty, silver difficulty, or gold difficulty, the game will choose robots from a pool of robots that can appear in those difficulty levels. Hypnodisc can only appear in silver or gold, which is annoying because Hypnodisc is a pain to deal with. As you can see on the side, my health bar very low, so I'm gonna have to be a bit safer at the moment. But yeah, I guess other than that, anything else to add, or?
Yeah, always. Absolutely, always more stuff to say. Again, no donations come in, but thank you very much to ESA for supporting the marathon. Besides providing us with their channel for streaming, they are sharing gear, technical assistance, and sponsors. Be sure to check out ESA's next event, ESA Winter 2022, which is happening sometime in February 2022.
Nice. Yeah, unfortunately, going to have to play this match a bit slower, but that's what happens when Hypnodisc shows up. You just play this game of cat and mouse. Luckily, we're in Bash and Dash, so we can win by outlasting. I guess being a coward sometimes wins. It's just that front disc is really annoying. Hypnodisc is not the worst robot though to fight. There is a robot called Propellerhead, which is Hypnodisc but with 360 degrees of damage capability. Okay, have to run away now. If I get hit once more, I'm dead. So, and that would just be massive time loss. So, I know this isn't the style control and aggression that you were expecting, but paused a bit too early there. There we go. So as you can see, because it's dash and dash, we win, even though we expired the 3-minute time limit. The next stage is Acid Bath, and if you remember the melting pot stage, it's exactly the same, except instead of lava we have acid, and the pit is just slightly smaller. And thank you, game, for actually giving me a good power-up, so I can talk about them. So, in this version of the game, you have 2 power-ups that you can use in a fight. Most of them are pretty useless. The ones that are useful is the one that looks like a driving wheel, which increases your speed, and the other useful one is, surprisingly, 180 degrees turn, which just looks like a U-turn shape. That is useful for other robots, however, because it allows you to just instantly spin around, and sometimes around your opponent. Again, we have to do bronze and silver of this, but we have to do them in Mayhem. We could, I would do dash and dash bronze because, again, easier. But because difficulty depends on game mode, you have to do acid bath, bronze and silver in Mayhem instead. So yeah, Robot Wars does not have acid pits or lava pools, but it's. I guess it's the video game. You can do different stages. Yeah. Honestly, I don't know what else I can add right now, except maybe some commentary, like how Wheel of Cheese is able to just self-fight quite easily at the moment. Chaos 2 is... I don't know what else to say, sorry. Oh yeah, as you can see, some of the time robots look like they're going to go into the pit, but they end up not going into the pit. The physics of this game is a little janky, but it's a 3D game on the Game Boy Advance. What can you expect? Anyway, we're now on to the 5th stage, Desert Storm. It's... In all honesty, I do not know what the gimmick of this stage is. It's just set in a desert area and is... well, a desert. Once again on the Bash and Dash stage, this time we also have to do gold, because I guess they wanted the game to get more difficult as you played. But there is a prize for everyone. So if I was to do bronze Mayhem of the studio, I would get a different prize compared to Bash and Dash. Unfortunately, we would not get Melting Pot. Like I said, hard-coded. Yeah, this is the stage where I will also switch what robot I'm using for safety. The robot I'll be switching to is Dominator 2, which is this robot left here. And that is because, like I said, Propeller Head and Hypnodisc are very annoying robots. They can both show up in gold, and if they both show up and you're Firestorm 3, not a good thing. Oh, come on. It does mean I get to show off some cool tech as well. That you can do as Firestorm, as Dominator, that you can't do as Firestorm in the later stages. But yeah, anything else? Any questions? Any?
Yeah, it's a great question. How many robots are there in this game?
In this game? Oh god, I can't remember. You start off with 5, and I think there's 16 unlockable robots, so I think there's 21 total. But out of all of them, only one of them the AI will never control, and that's Stinger. But you get to unlock Hypnodisc, you unlock Chaos 2. Any robot that you see me fight, you will also be able to play as. You get to play as Wheelie Big Cheese. In fact, Wheelie Big Cheese is actually quite useful in the all gauntlet category, because there's a bit of cheese you can do with it. And by that I mean you can flip opponents behind you, potentially.
Always love a bit of cheese.
Yeah. A bit of cheese and speedrunning. The game also is surprisingly not that glitchy either. Yes, it can be janky with the physics, but that's the physics, not the actual gameplay. As far as we're aware, there is one potential glitch, or bug, or feature, or whatever you want to call it, which only has a use in the all tournaments mode, the speedrun. It saves less than a second. And I don't know if it's meant to be a glitch or a bug, but it's there. So, and the reason why I mention this is you can build your own robot. It gives you a chassis. You choose power sources. You have to make sure it's under 100 kilos. You need to have some form of weapon as well. But you can also unlock a thing called gold parts, which are meant to be really good items. Very low weight as well, and you can build Goldfinger, which is a robot that is all 6 gold parts. One of the unlocks for the gold part is beating tournament gold mode. But sometimes it may not give it to you. So you end up only being able to unlock 3 gold parts as opposed to 4.
Is that just a random bug that happens?
It's just a random bug, yeah. The way I managed to find it was pressing the start button as opposed to the A button can cause the bug to happen. But it only happens in that section. It doesn't stop you from getting any of the other gold parts in the other unlocks. There is also a bug with one of the cheat codes, hard case, and it's the reason why we ban it for in all categories. Hard case is meant to make the robot that you are indestructible. So it's meant to make that only that custom robot indestructible. Instead, it makes whatever robot you play as indestructible. So it makes it super trivial and just isn't very good at all. Now, as you can see, we're in gold. I have switched over to Dominator 2. It is slightly faster and a lot safer for me to be Dominator 2 for this stage. Like I said, if we get Propeller Head and Hypnodisc at the same time, we're not going to win. Do you watch BattleBots at all?
I haven't, no. I only watched the original Robot Wars.
I guess Propeller Head. If you remember Typhoon 2, and Warthog and those kinds of robots, you know, that full body spinner kind of robot.
Yeah.
Pretty much that. Or if you watched classic or even the modern BattleBots, a robot by the name of Son of Boyachi is probably a good representation of what Propeller Head looks like. So one of the things I'm trying to do as Dominator 2, which is a bit of a technique which I believe either Benpai or Shima, two people who have run this game, found. Firing Dominator 2's axe and keeping it fired can pin your opposing robot. And you can drag them, a bit like how Razor could drag robots about. We're now on to the final stage, Red Planet Rumble, and it's set in Mars, so the gravity is lessened. Because of this, it's easier and somewhat faster to just use Dominator 2 anyway. We're on Mayhem mode, we just hope robots come to us one at a time for us to get into the pit. Pussycat was a good robot, yeah. Like, Pussycat, Chaos 2, Bigger Brother was a decent robot. We are close to finishing. We need to do Gold Mayhem of Red Planet Rumble. So I guess while I do the last two fights, I'm just gonna... I'll leave the floor open for any more questions or comments.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, we don't really have a lot in terms of donations, but if you want to get updates when our marathons go live and when your favourite runs are coming up, such as this one, then follow us on Twitter at UKSG Marathon, and if you use the hashtag UKSG Autumn 21, you might be featured on stream. We do sometimes have tweet sweep from there. And we do have some incentives for upcoming runs, including Cuphead, where you get to choose which characters the runners play as. It's going to be a race, so whether it's be Cuphead versus Cuphead, Mugman versus Mugman, or Cuphead versus Mugman.
So, this fight, because we're Dominator 2, Hypnodisc's big spinning blade isn't as big of a concern. The issue is we need to get to deal with the with the other robots as well. So, we need to just be a bit mindful about how much damage we're taking. And so one last fight. Time will be when you hear cease after I win the last fight. And for the run to count, you then need to show you've got the arena editor unlocked. So I'm just gonna finish off saying, thank you for letting me run at UKSG Autumn. I am in the process of writing up some guides for the game, so that if people do want to run this game, they can. Any robots like Tombstone, not in this game. Tombstone-based robots were more later on, but yeah, thank you for having me, and yeah.
It's been our pleasure to have you here. How active is the community for this game then?
Not that active. I'm currently the only active runner. Shima broke one of the records a few days ago, but that's because I had broken it first, and basically we've been fighting each other for the world record.
That's our competition.
Yeah, I was the first one to run the category. Shima then took world record. Then I've taken it back, and now Shima has just taken it back from me. But yeah, it's not that active, but we do have a category for all of the Robot Wars games. So if this particular version is not your kind of style, that's fine. There is a leaderboard for every Robot Wars game officially released.
And I'm sure some new player guides will help get people into the game as well.
Yeah, the community is super chill. If you want to play it and you want to use emulator, then you can. I'm using it, playing it on the GameCube. So, yeah. And if my opponent would behave themselves and actually come close to me, that would be useful. And time. So, sorry for going slightly over time. As you can see, some fights can just be a pain. But yeah, thank you for having me, and I hope the rest of your marathon goes well.
No, that's completely understandable. That looks like a run with a lot of RNG, especially in terms of how the AIs behave.
Yeah, the AI's behaviour and the robots that you fight is the only RNG in the game.
Yeah.
But it's just learning how to defeat them quickly, or as quickly as you can.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, regardless, I rate that run as a 10 for style control, damage, and aggression. Do you have any shoutouts that you'd like to make before we finish off?
None that I hadn't made during the run.
Alright, fantastic. Well, thank you very much for a fantastic run. Next up, we are going to have the Sammy G